First, it was the ballroom backlash. Today, there's a legal fight teeing up over President Trump's plans to remake a historic D.C. public golf course. That's part, by the way, of the national park system. This morning, a preservation group went before a judge to try to block the administration from renovating the East Potomac Park golf links after reports that the course would be closed down so work could start today. New renderings in a document obtained by the Washington Post show a plan that would dramatically alter the waterfront, expanding the course, raising concerns among cyclists, runners, picnickers, and fishermen. MS Now has not seen the document. We should also say it's important to note that none of these concepts have been publicly approved and would be subject to a federal review process. Joining us now, one of the lawyers who filed the emergency motion that brought the dispute to court today, Norm Eisen, founder and executive chair of Democracy Defenders Fund and former special counsel and special assistant to President Obama. It's good to see you, Norm. The government is arguing they're just doing routine repairs and maintenance. What do you see happening?
Well, Chris, we brought this lawsuit for two reasons. Number one, this precious resource in our nation's capital is here to have golf available to people who can't afford to pay prices for the high-end golf courses, to make it available to everybody. There's parkland there that families and picnickers and kids use. And that should not be renovated and taken away without following appropriate legal requirements. And it appears to us that that's happening. But number two, Chris, also very alarming, the toxic dirt and debris from that East Wing teardown, which we have just learned in recent days, contains carcinogens and lead and arsenic is being dumped there. So with these new revelations, we ran to court on an emergency basis and appeared before the judge today, who gave some very stern warnings to the government.
My understanding is that one of those warnings was against the government, warning of serious consequences if they try to renovate the golf course without first informing her or the group that you represent. But we saw with the White House ballroom that the administration doesn't always wait for approval. So what should be happening here? And are you concerned it won't be?
Well, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. That was the theme of the hearing today. My colleagues at Democracy Forward, at Lowell and Associates, and we at Democracy Defenders Fund were there before the court to call attention to this apparent acceleration to take the golf and the park away from average folks, and also these issues of the toxic materials in what is being dumped there from the East Wing. And the court required the Department of Justice representing the Trump administration to assure that we won't have that kind of shock that we all exhibited. It reverberated across the country and across the world when our precious East Wing was demolished. So we're going to keep fighting. We're going to hold the Trump administration to that, Chris, because it's just not right. You've got to follow the law, whether it's fighting a war abroad or messing with our precious resources and sites here in the United States.
The Washington Post is reporting, Norm, that a top fundraiser for President Trump is seeking donations for a new nonprofit that it says will support Trump's plans to remake the East Potomac Golf Course, as well as a proposed National Garden of American Heroes. As a former ethics czar, does that raise any red flags for you?
Well, as we ethics czars like to say, hell yes. Why should these multimillionaires and billionaires be moving large sums to satisfy the president's whims when, as we allege in our case, the law has not been followed in this planning. Why is it happening in secret, Chris? We had to rely on the press, God bless them, to unearth this information. And what, if any, special access or special treatment are these billionaires getting? We've looked at other cases where these large sums are moved by the president's cronies, where they have strong special interests before the government. This is a president who said he was going to drain the swamp, not deepen the swamp and fill it up with these billionaire bundles of cash. So it's profoundly concerning. And we're in court with our wonderful partners to expose that. Let's have full transparency and let's follow the law, for heaven's sake.
So if you can tell us briefly, Norm, what's the next step in this?
Well, we're going to continue to get that information, like the information that we unearthed in court proceedings about these toxic substances. The next effort is going to be to get documentation and more information and data and documents. What exactly is going on here? And we're going to keep fighting to enforce the law and to win a preliminary injunction in this case, stopping what is, in our view, this illegal construction, tearing the park away from the people of our cities, of our city, of our nation's capital, and putting toxic substances out there. That's just not right. And it's not legal either.
Norm Eisen, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on the show. Thank you.